Imagine waking up tomorrow and finding that the entire Earth, yes, every single continent, every ocean, every little corner is frozen solid under a sheet of ice. No green forests, no sandy beaches, no summer heat waves. Just endless, blinding white ice for as far as your eyes can see. Sounds like the beginning of a sci-fi apocalypse, right? But let's push the imagination button. What if Earth really was covered in ice? For 100 years straight. All right, let's set the stage. Scientists actually have a name for something like this. They call it a snowball Earth. And believe it or not, it may have happened billions of years ago. But instead of looking back, we're imagining it happening to us starting today. So buckle up, because this 100-year deep freeze is going to change life on Earth in some wild and pretty terrifying ways. First problem, temperature. With the entire planet covered in ice, sunlight would bounce right back into space instead of warming the ground. That means Earth's temperature would keep dropping fast. Think Antarctica level cold, but everywhere. Within a few months, crops would fail. Forget summer barbecues, forget mangoes, forget iced coffee actually. You wouldn't even need ice anymore. So maybe that's a win? Humans would quickly learn that survival means going underground or moving into artificial domes. Think giant heated cities powered by nuclear plants or underground bunkers warmed with geothermal energy. Life would be less about Instagramming sunsets and more about making sure you don't literally freeze to death when you step outside. Now, what about the oceans? Well, they'd freeze over too, but not all the way down. Beneath the ice, deep ocean water would still be liquid. And that's good news, because it means fish, plankton, and some marine life could survive. So sushi isn't totally off the menu. But good luck catching fish when the nearest ocean hole is buried under 100 feet of ice. Animals? Oh boy. Most large land animals, elephants, lions, deer gone. They just wouldn't survive without plants to eat. The survivors would be smaller, cold-resistant creatures. Picture the world run by penguins, polar bears, and cockroaches. If you thought pigeons were annoying, wait until you meet their icy replacements. Meanwhile, plants would have an even tougher time. Photosynthesis can't happen under snow and ice. The only green survivors would be hardy algae living in tiny cracks of ice near volcanoes or hot springs. So, in short, Earth wouldn't just look dead, it would be almost dead. But here's where it gets interesting. Humans are annoyingly good at adapting. In this frozen Earth, we might build massive greenhouse farms under glass domes, powered by artificial lights. Our diets would be weird. Lots of lab-grown meat, hydroponic veggies, and maybe some bug protein bars. Delicious, right? Now let's talk about the fun stuff. What would daily life look like? Travel would be insane. Planes? Forget it. Runways would be buried under ice. Cars? Roads gone. The only way to move around would be with icebreakers, snow trains, or massive drilling tunnels. Basically, every trip to Grandma's house would feel like a polar expedition. And forget about summer vacation in Florida. Florida would be a giant glacier sliding into the Atlantic. But the real twist comes at the end of those 100 years, because ice doesn't stay forever. At some point, the Earth would start to thaw. Maybe volcanoes release enough carbon dioxide to heat things back up. Maybe humans find a way to pump greenhouse gases into the air on purpose, just to melt the ice. But when that thaw begins, watch out. All that frozen water has been locked up for a century. Once it melts, sea levels would rise massively. Cities like New York, Miami, London, and Mumbai would drown almost overnight. Rivers would flood. Entire coastlines would redraw themselves. In fact, the post-ice world might be even harder to live in than the frozen one. So, here's the big reveal. A 100-year ice age wouldn't just freeze us. It would basically hit the reset button on Earth. Billions of people might not survive, ecosystems would collapse, and civilization would have to rebuild itself from tiny pockets of survivors. And when the thaw finally came, humanity would face a whole new planet, one reshaped by ice, flood, and chaos. Kinda makes our current winters feel cozy, doesn't it? So, what's the takeaway? Earth covered in ice for 100 years would be the ultimate survival test. Most life would vanish, but humans, with our technology and stubbornness, might just scrape through. Though, personally, I'd rather not test it. Thanks for sticking with this chilly thought experiment. If you enjoyed freezing your brain with us today, make sure to hit that like button. Drop a comment about how you'd survive 100 years of ice, and subscribe for more wild what-if scenarios. Until next time, stay curious and stay warm.